So what's programming languages do you all use?
I think let's wait for others to join. Time is 9:30. I think 2 minutes are left. Then we can start the session.
Okay.
Or it's Hani, you can if yeah. Sure. So hi everyone. I'm Sarthika. I'm a software engineer at Microsoft, and currently I'm a full stack developer. Like I'm working on Microsoft Designer, which basically provides users a platform to create inspiring content. And prior to this, I was part of Office Android team, in which I worked on security, compliance, and privacy features for Office apps. So like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, and Office Mobile. Uh, so yeah, and so like if I talk about my journey of programming, it basically started, if I remember correctly, from 8th standard when I made my first static HTML website, and from then onwards, I was like naturally inclined towards taking computer science in my high school as an elective, along with science as a major, and then at university only intensified my flair for programming. Like there were several course projects, research projects, and through self study, I started to learn new technologies and languages. Uh, and then in my third year, I got an opportunity to work as an intern at Microsoft, and then later rejoin as a full time employee. And that brings me to where I am today. So that is a bit about myself. Like I'm open to questions now, and I will try to answer them to the best of my knowledge and experience. Yeah. So how are we going to do this? Like in chat, or Ithani will be like, okay. So I think we should go with chat only, like, or people can unmute themselves and ask. What advice would you give to someone seeking an internship? Okay, so first, like for internship, you need to get, like prepare yourself with the basic DSA and algorithms part. And yeah, so you have to apply through the careers page, and they will reach out to you. But for the interview preparation part, you have to have like strong DSA and algorithmic skills. So refresh all those things, and and yeah, and try during the interviews, like try to be verbal and talk with the interviewer, and like, to explain the things, like what solution you are thinking. uh yeah, so let's jump to the second question. It's, what is your favorite thing about working at Microsoft, and favorite project you have worked on? Okay, so favorite thing about working at Microsoft, I would say, is the culture and the collaborative environment. Uh, and along with that, the impactful projects that we get to work on. So that I would say is a favorite thing. And favorite project you've worked on. Okay, I would say like the project which I recently working on is basically a recommendation system. So we are applying advanced machine learning techniques in that. So that is giving me a lot of new things to learn, like a lot of exposure to the ML domain. So I would say that is, I think, the favorite project I've worked on till now. Which languages should we learn to get into Microsoft? Okay, I didn't understand the referrals. Yeah, okay, yeah. Which languages should we learn to get into Microsoft? Okay, so there is no strict requirement for a particular language. Interviews should be given in the language which you are most comfortable with, so that you like, because language is not the main thing in the interviews. It's the logic behind answering the questions and whether or not you are able to solve it. So there are no like strict requirements for the language. You can choose whatever you are comfortable with. And when you join a team or something, like you will eventually learn, if even if you're not aware. Uh, yeah. And what kind of skills were you expected to have experience with before getting the MS internship? Okay, so yeah, as I said, a basic DSA and algorithmic knowledge should be there. No language specific knowledge is a requirement. And you should be like able to clearly explain what you are thinking. Even if it's a basic solution, like you can start with the basic solution and go on to advanced solutions, but you should be able to clearly communicate with the interviewer about your solution. And what kind of programming skills were expected to be learned on the job during the internship? Okay, so in my internship, I worked on TypeScript, React, and C Sharp. So I haven't like I hadn't worked with these three languages before, like prior to the internship. So I learned whatever was required during the internship only. So yeah, so there are no requirements of what you should know before the internship. You will eventually learn all these things in the internship. But for interviews, you need to be good at DSA and algorithm part. Okay, another question is, what soft skills do we require to succeed as a developer? Okay, so I would say you should have like good communication skills, because collaboration is happening on on a daily basis uh, in like at Microsoft. So like you have to interact with program managers and different teams and other developers as well. So it is important. Like you should be able to collaborate easily and uh, with the other colleagues. Are you from India? If yes, I am too. I'm in 12th right now and have almost same journey. Have you been to Microsoft via after JE and IT? Yeah, so first question, yeah, I am from India and I've been after JE. So after JE, we have to like join a university or something, 4-year BTech course. That is what I did. How to cope up with studies and coding together. So if you are talking about coding in 12th, like I had computer science as an elective. So in that, I learned C++. So my 11th and 12th, I had computer science as an elective. So that was like very basic C++, which I learned. So I didn't do any coding before joining college, except for that elective, whatever was done in that elective course in the 11th and 12th. I started actual coding in college only. And what should I do after 12th if I don't get IIT? So there are like many other colleges which provide bachelors. So like even if you don't get IIT, like there are other colleges you can apply to, and and like and then after 4 years, like you can apply to companies via their career page. So it's not like only IIT is there. So yeah. And what projects do you suggest to do? Projects like okay, so you need to like think what interests you. Like in the first year you will be taught like almost all courses for of all streams, so that is fine. So then like you should think on what area interests you. Like you start reading about different domains. Like there is Android development, there is web development, there is machine learning and research area. So you have to just read about it and try to think like what interests you. But before doing all this, you should have a basic understanding of the coding process, like because developing coding skills in the initial years is of more priority than actually like doing projects and all, because projects will eventually come up in the upcoming years, second, third and fourth year. But in the first year and like even second year, you should focus more on coding, because in interviews also codings are coding rounds are the only rounds, and they will ask about projects. But main like the actual questions which you will be asked will be of coding. uh yeah. From which college you have graduated? So I am from IIIT Delhi. It's yeah, IIIT Delhi. Yeah, yeah. I have a question. Should I continue with competitive programming or development? That depends on like how much comfortable you are with competitive programming. So as I mentioned, like you should focus on competitive, not exactly competitive programming, but more based on like what will be asked in interviews. Uh, so it's not exactly competitive programming, so that you should see. And if you are very comfortable with coding, and like if you're practicing on a daily basis, then you can start with development also, like web development or Android development. I'm hoping you are asking about that only, like about the projects part. So if you, I think you can do both things together, coding as well as development part, if you are like dividing time equally in between them, and if you are able to manage along with the college studies. But focus more on coding first, and then the development part. What was the interview process like for Microsoft? How many stages were there? And how much of the interview was a technical test? Okay, so there were okay, there was first an online coding round, in which like we were given an online test. Around I think 3 questions were there. That was virtual test, like you have to do it, submit it online. After that, whoever like passed their cutoff or something, they were invited for the final interview rounds. So there were 6 rounds, which I remember. First round was more of a group round, in which we were given a question, and we have to code the solution on it, like code the solution for it, and then it was a pen and paper based test, from which I remember. So we all wrote our side of solutions, and then they basically checked it, and whoever passed that, we went for the 5 round interview. Now in these 5 rounds, 4 rounds were purely technical, like you were given 1 or 2 coding questions per round, and you have to solve them there and present the solution. and last round was more of like a behavioral round in which they asked about your project and why you want to join Microsoft and all that stuff. So that was how my interview process was for Microsoft. And yes, the project. Yeah. There is also one hackathon of Microsoft going on right now, which also gives the opportunities for this, like the interview. Hackathon, I'm not sure. There is a Microsoft Engage program that is there, which is a mentorship program. So that for that you have to apply separately, and then you will be provided with a mentor to guide you on the projects. And after you complete, I think 2 or 3 months, it's of 2 or 3 months after you complete that, if it's a successful one, then you might get an internship offer. So that is what is there. Hackathon, I'm not sure of. If you can like specify the name, I can check it and get back to you separately. What task have you ever been given at Microsoft that were beyond your comfort? How did you respond and what was the result? Okay, beyond my comfort. Okay, so yeah, there are like I cannot say the full project here because of confidentiality, but yeah, there are cases when that happens. That's a good question. And what I usually try to do is I try to break down the problem into different parts and different tasks and track them separately. Like if there is a bigger task and if the deadlines are strict, I would try to first break them down into different pieces to see what can be done in parallel. And mostly for all projects, we have to like start communications with other teams or program managers. So that can all go in parallel. So if I have divided a bigger task into smaller tasks, I can start the communications for each of these smaller tasks separate in parallel. So that is how I try to like do things. If there are like strict deadlines and there's a lot of work to do, that helps in time management. And how did you respond? Yeah, this is how I do uh, things. So then eventually things come on track. And if there is some small delay, we always keep a buffer before like telling the deadlines to the leadership. So we try to give some buffer. Like if we think that it will be completed in 1 week, we will mostly try to give some more buffer so that if there are any more delays, like there can be delays due to many things. So we try to keep a buffer before giving a final deadline to the leadership. Is there any tech meetups or events that you recommend we go to? Any tech newsletter podcast you really like? So tech meetups, yeah, there are many. I went to this thing, GHCI, so you can try that out. It's a great one. And then there are like other women in tech also organizes some events. So I have been to them, but I'm not aware of all other events are there. So you can search them up in Google. Like yeah, in tech events. What is the best coding language tool for hacking? It really depends on what project like you are doing, so and what you are comfortable. So if you are just starting to learn, and then like you again, yeah, it depends on what project you are doing. It's if it's a web development project, there are different set of languages for that. If it's Android development, there is different. But you can, I think, all are equal, and you can like try with anyone for the starters, because if you are just starting to learn, you can like scale horizontally and learn whatever you want to learn. Flutter or React Native? Okay, so uh, I would not do an actual comparison here. It like really depends on what problem you are trying to solve, because each language has pros and cons in itself, and it depends on the project which you are doing. So if you talk about Flutter and React Native, it really depends. So you have to check what fits better for the project which you are trying to do. So it's not like I'm inclined towards any one. I really choose languages based on the problem I'm trying to solve. Is there any book you could recommend? Uh, I think in my college I used to the one which was prescribed to us was CLRS for data structures and all. But eventually I used to uh, now I just go to online resources and whatever, if I face any issues or if I have to learn anything, I just search online, and whatever is the best resource, like if whatever I'm able to understand in whichever website I'm able to understand whatever I was trying to solve, I just go with that. There is no like fixed recommendation for any book or something. That there are like ample of resources available online. You can try maybe CLRS is one. You can try cracking the coding interview also, if you are like specifically looking for books for coding for the interview part. So, yeah. Yeah, like GitHub or Stack Overflow. Yeah, whatever solves your problem. I think I go with that. Are there any teams in Microsoft to manage a particular thing, like one team for front end, one for back end, one for something else like this? So the whole team for one project will be super big. Yeah, so mostly in our team we have different people working on different areas. So some work on front end, some on back end. Um, then there are program managers, designers, and then research scientists, applied scientists. So yeah, everyone has a different set of tasks to do. But like, and mostly we have a rotation kind of thing also, that people doing front end can also do back end. So it really depends on what project is of priority. So if, for example, if currently if I am doing some front end work and some other person is doing back end work, and now suddenly some back end project comes, and it's of high priority, so I will also start contributing in the back end area. So it's not like it's not fixed that but it really depends. So if someone has already expertise in front end or back end, then probably they will prefer that. But if some project comes of higher priority, then like people do the other domains also, like they work in other domains as well. If I talk about just software engineering part, ML and designers and program managers, they are all separate. So that cannot be intermingled. Like software engineers cannot do program management, and that part is not there. For if you have to switch to program management from software engineering, then there is a separate interview process and all. You have to go through that. But while doing a project, it's not there. Pre-built code and pre-built templates, or do you like start? So pre-build in the sense, yeah. So most the projects I have worked on, they were like already set up, and we have to build upon them. So they're like, if I worked in office code, right, and office apps are way older, so all the code was there, like the initial template was already set up and all. What my task was to any new feature requests that are coming from our clients or consumers, we have to implement that. So the start. So if you are talking about starting template, I have not developed any project from scratch as such, like the whole product from scratch. I have worked on implementing features on an existing product. So I'm learning Java right now, and my question is, what are good coding challenges for early beginners? Coding challenges for early beginners. Coding challenges in the sense you are saying, like if you are trying to practice Java, you can like whatever questions are available on online sites for practicing for the interviews, you can just try to do them in Java. So they will cover mostly most of the data structures. So whatever interview questions are available online, they cover most of the basic data structures. So that is the good starting point if you're trying to learn a new language. How Microsoft is implementing AI, ML, and all cool technologies for service. So we have AI, ML via Azure services. So like there is a separate, I would say, Azure stack available for that, and all the mostly all of these AI and ML uh, things are available in that. But people try, but there are few products which have their own set of ML models and everything available, and they have deployed them in the separate services, so they are using that. So yeah, so it's that, like all the research and all has been done by research scientists, and then the technologies have been implemented, and we try to leverage that and improve on it if required. Like it depends on the use case. Like if any improvement is required, we contribute to that. What originally got you into programming? Yeah, as I mentioned, like when I took this elective in 11th and 12th, right? Computer science as an elective. From then onwards, I was interested in coding. And even before that, I mentioned like in 8th or something, I made a static HTML website, and it really got me interested. Uh, but eventually, like 11th and 12th was the time, I think, when I actually liked coding part, and then I thought of doing a bachelor's in computer science. When there is new OS development like so everyone working on Microsoft gets to know about it. Yeah, like we usually get a mail for any new announcements. I think there are 2 more minutes left uh, in the session. So like if anyone has any more questions. Have you ever worked in OS development? No, I would say no. Is it alright if I message you on LinkedIn? Yeah, like you all can connect with me on Discord or LinkedIn, like wherever you feel comfortable with. I'm happy to answer any questions there. I think that's all. Yeah, so thank you everyone for all the questions. I hope you are all enjoying like hacking. Like you're all having a great time hacking. Um, yeah, feel free to ping me. Like if you have any more questions, I can answer you offline. We can think. You are good with keeping the replay on YouTube, right? Okay, okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we can keep it. All right, yeah. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, have a nice day and happy hacking.
Bye.
Yeah,
Thank you.
bye.